Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tactical Tuesday. Tonight's topic is winterizing this, your first aid kit. First aid, how's everybody doing?
Hello.
I am short two guest people up here.
Yeah.
So, I really wanted to get Bruce up here, him being an EMT, before, and got some lovely information here for everybody. And let me grab one thing up here. I got to make one quick adjustment here. Get this over there. There we go. Okay, now I can drop that back down. Okay, so let's take a roll call, see who's all here. And all right, first one in here was Dream XD, and then CR, and then Teresa Lovespin, Emma 3010, P2E, Mouse Toes, and everyone's talking. Mary Beth Smith, Tina Weber, Shady Hill Homestead, Courtney White Family Farm, Dave, of course.
Where?
On the list of the chat here.
Okay.
Tasha at Prep For It. Thank you, Courtney, for reminding everybody. Please hit the thumbs up. CB at Hugo Homestead. Kaylin Strain, Suburban Hillbilly. Good. Everybody's talking and the chat's just going right along. The Kraken.
Hey, Gil.
Yeah.
Check your mic connection. It's popping in and out.
Okay. Let's see here.
Yeah, because when you move, it comes up nice and loud. Then you move it a little bit more and it gets all quiet again.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, it's going to get a little weird.
It could be just rubbing against your shirt, too.
No, it's down here in front of me. It's a big desk one here. I noticed my mouse was popping and moving, doing funny things. So just maybe my computer's doing weird stuff. Okay, I said Mouse Toast. King Poopa. That's Courtney's husband. The Gunslinger Outdoors is here. Beautiful Harvest Abby's here.
Hit refresh. Hit your refresh on your Windows. If you don't see anything, hit refresh real quick. Never mind. Okay, got it.
All right. Okay, so tonight's going to go a little. We're going to talk about a first aid kit, and then you're probably going to run out of material here, because there's only so much you can do to winterize your first aid kit, but it has some important stuff here. So we got some stuff. So we may open it up to some whatever else anybody wants to talk for the last little bit of it here. But so let's jump right in this and get the important stuff here nailed on here. So for winterizing it, it's like, hey, cold weather is ahead for most of you. For some of us, cold weather tonight is going to be 19 degrees here. Had to go back and double check here because still says 19 degrees for tonight. And so there are certain things that happen when it gets this cold. Certain things have a tendency to freeze. And we're going to talk about some of those, like your first aid cream and your first aid kit, all that stuff. It could possibly freeze and not be any use to you. One of the things that if you keep a first aid kit in the car, and this is basically what we're talking about, freezing, the one out in your vehicles. Dave made a good suggestion. We were talking about this on Friday, was bring the first aid kit inside, set it by the back door. That way it stays warm and you take it out and it's warm in the car and everything's good. And if you're going to work, take it into work with you, set it next to your desk. That way it stays warm. And if you run into any accidents on the road, you have a fully functional first aid kit. But there's some other stuff you might want to add to your first aid kit here. These little gloves, these little thin cotton gloves, because generally when people are rendering first aid, they put on the blue nitrile gloves, the latexy type ones that actually offer no insulation against the cold. And some of the EMTs that I used to know in California, even where it doesn't freeze, when it was getting really cold and stuff, they would get these in a big pack of them and stuff. And depending on their hand size, if they could put the glove on and then the nitrile glove over it, they do that. Most of the time, you just put the nitrile glove on and these on the outside, and they throw the whole glove away. These cotton gloves away, if they're doing whatever they're doing, if there's any blood or anything on it, just for safety's sake. But a way to keep their fingers warm and feeling and not getting cold and, and never they can't feel, they, added some, that's right, PD, the jersey knit gloves. And that was a way to help them to keep themselves from getting frostbite or whatever and keep their fingers sensitive to what they're doing. So that's one thing that you might consider adding to your first aid kit for wintertime.
Hey, Thrifty.
Hand warmers. Hey, Thrifty G. VG. Yeah, Thrifty VG. Ugh, going too fast there. So
slow down.
Okay. Now driving along like a Model T. The hand warmers. And this is one of the things we used to tell people in the CERT program. Add hand warmers to your first aid kit and your CERT bag in the wintertime. Not so much for yourself, but for those that you're rendering first aid to. Because if someone's out there laying on the ground in the cold, you crack a couple of those open, you slide it underneath them around their kidneys. It helps warm them up. Because where the kidneys are in the small of the back, that is actually the highest heat loss point on the body, not the head, because all the blood flows right through the kidneys. Not all the blood flows to the brain.
Here is a cold weather military survival tip. If your head is cold, warm your feet up. Because when your head starts getting cold, that means your feet are cold. Because all the blood's rushing away from your head to the other extremities.
Yeah.
Your head's the last thing to get warm. So if your head is cold, you better start warming up other parts of your body.
And the Kraken has a good one here. If your hands are cold, imagine your patient. And so hand warmers are a great way to help heat up somebody that, need. Hand warmers is something you might want to consider adding to your first aid kits, or just for your regular, if you have a special kit for yourself in your car, get home bag kit, add it to that too.
And Walmart usually has those, especially this time of year, they have sales on those for like $5 for $1.
All right. A wool blanket. Let me reach over here. I got a nice one that's red, but a wool blanket specifically for the person you're working on stuff to help them, insulate them from the cold ground, roll them up on their side, lay it out while you're doing the inspection and lay it back. And this helps keep them from getting any colder. If you have two of them, one underneath, one on top. And believe it or not, the blanket underneath will help keep a person warmer than a blanket over them. If they're laying on the cold asphalt, say they slipped out there on the ice in the parking lot, you want to get something between them and that ice, until the paramedics get there.
Provided it's safe to move them.
Yes.
Some situations, it's not safe to move the patient.
Right.
That's why proper training is important.
Exactly. And there's a good training on how to deal with a person that has slipped and fallen from your CERT program. And they teach you about the proper way to examine them and to roll them, to check them and stuff for any back injuries and stuff. All right. What we're doing, so we got the blanket, we got the gloves, we got the hand warmers, and we talked about keeping the first aid kit warm inside. And I think that's the last slide I have on it. Yeah, that's the last slide. So, hey, NC girl, how's it going? So, I was hoping to have an EMT up here, but I do have something else here. Let me plop this down. Wrong button. There we go. and drop that down and bring the other one up here. Okay, so share screen, go back to this. So when I was looking for some, some of the things on it, I found this. This is for first responders. And if first responders are winterizing their kits, I think the rest of us ought to follow suit. And some of the things that they're talking about is, they go through, most common winter medical emergencies, respiratory infections that they have to deal with. Choking on the holidays, or something that happens in the winter. But the head injuries from falls, slippery conditions, increase of falls. All right. This is probably going to be one of the biggest things you're going to come across with is where someone has slipped and fallen. And hey, Duncan, hey, Tibor, and you're going to do that. Now, I'm going to scroll back up. Someone's mentioned that. Who was it? Was it Suburban or Tasha? Talked about someone falling, and I can't find it now. But yeah, they spotted someone that had fallen, an old lady that had fallen and stuff. So one of the things here now, here's one of the important things here. Stay warm yourself. Warm gloves so which you can easily tend to patients. Gloves with removable fingers can be easy. And do I have that here? I forgot. It's around here on one of the shelves here. Anyways, I've shown it in some of my other videos on Camp Patent Family Compound. I have the nice warm gloves without the fingers, on them, but it has the mitten part that pulls up. So when I'm not doing something, I can pull up, keep my fingers warm.
Pennsylvania Prepper is the one that mentioned it.
Yeah. Okay. Pennsylvania Prepper. Yeah. Yeah. And I just thought of what we was saying, removable fingers. Yeah, I'm just going to take my finger off here. If your fingers get cold, that's could happen. So, protect the patient from the elements. We talked about the blanket and put the wool blanket and stuff to keep them warm, and the hand warmers to use them. Also, the regular emergency blankets that reflect heat back. That helps as well. Backup hand and foot warmers. Okay. So, anyways, so if you guys want to read this, crap, I'm on the wrong computer to do that. I don't have the link over on this one here. Putting the regular one down here. I can do that because I now have. Shoot, come on. Okay, everything's acting up here. Control C. V. There you go. So there's the link to this article, this blog, and you guys can read it on your own. And so, this is, I know this is going to be, it was a short one. I almost should have done this as your prep for today, but this is something that I think, oh, what the heck did I do? Dave, you dropped out? What the heck? How'd you get off this? All right, Dave's blanked out. Am I frozen, folks? No, I seem to be moving on the other one here. I guess Dave froze. Oh, yeah. Not sure. Maybe Dave's going to come back in again. He's coming back. All right. So this is some of the things that I thought was important for everybody to consider for the season we're coming to. Going to be really cold. And they still say it's going to be a longer, colder winter. It's just that it's all right. Dave dropped out totally. So hopefully he'll be back here in a minute. I'm not sure what happened. Yeah. Emma, you may have been right. It may have been that pomegranate stuff that just caused him to. Either that or he spilt it on his thing. Yeah, the drink just blew him away. So if you guys weren't here for Dave's live stream, he was doing a was that? I can't remember the name of that coffee now. That he was he got these samples of this powdered coffee mix for cold coffee that's shelf stable. Oh, his internet is acting up, and he's back.
Try it again.
Yeah. So, what was the brand of coffee you were doing?
Hold on, I can share it if my internet will.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Mouse Toast is happy the coffee did not take you out. Anyway, yeah. So you guys, if you missed his, he did some reviews of a couple of it. There we go. Yeah. Moderna's.
Yeah, I have energy. My internet does not.
Yeah. All righty. So that's what he did the last hour. And for preppers, hey, this is not bad stuff. If you're a coffee drinker, it's good stuff. And then they also have the two not really super energy drinks. They have the same amount of caffeine as a cup of coffee, but he had the two naturalized green drinks that are pomegranate and blueberry, and the other one was mango, orange, and can't remember what it was. But
hold on. Mango, orange, and guava.
So those are the ones there. And Teresa put out a note: do not snort these products.
No, bad idea.
Not unless you want that quick. All right. Mouse, Dream is my grandnephew, and he would like to come up here, but we're not. I'm not bringing, others up here right now. So this is not the Monday night chat or the Thursday night talking. This is a regular program. So, anyways, so that's what Dave was doing last hour. And actually, Dave,
yes,
would you put a small packet of this in your first aid kit for you?
Actually, I would probably pick something a little more. Let's say, I come up on an accident and, there's people thirsty, and I would probably make up a couple baggies with a serving in each. Also, having bottled water with you is always, something we're supposed to do anyway. That way I could give them something cold to drink, it'll have a little caffeine to it, a little bit of a morale boost. So yeah, I wouldn't mind putting some of this in a bag.
Yeah. Yeah. The Kraken says Folgers crystals. It's basically an extension of that, but you got more flavors in them.
Yeah. I mean, you got
froze,
mocha, vanilla, dark roast,
apple cinnamon,
cider, spiced pumpkin.
Yeah.
They can keep that one. I am not I'm not a spiced pumpkin person. Nope. Sorry. This one, I wouldn't mind trying that one. And then the peppermint mocha. And of course, we got people from down south that like mocha.
Yeah. So,
of course, you got those, and they do have the whole bean as well.
Yeah.
I dropped a link in there. That link that I dropped in will get you $5 off your first order.
Yeah. And that link takes you to this here, and it says Dave has sent you a gift. Enter your email to claim now, $5 off, and you can, save some money on it. But yeah, everyone's kind of, it becomes more reluctant to offer or render first aid in the wintertime because most of the injuries people see are due to slipping one way or another. They slipped, their car slipped and slid out of control. Someone else's car slid into them. And people are, don't seem to realize in the wintertime, sometimes that's more important to offer first aid to a person to keep them alive because of the cold. So that's where we're up to on this now. Tibor, Folgers singles, I'm trying to remember who it was that was when they were doing their reviews was pulling out Folger singles.
I've
Kaylin may have
actually
been.
got some. I got
Kaylin
some
may
in
have
the
done
cupboard in
that
the
too.
kitchen.
Yeah. I think Kaylin has pulled out some, stuff when doing her some reviews. Didn't like what they had in there, but there was someone else that was talking about that they had the Folger singles in their go bag and stuff. So with Swiss Miss, okay. Tibor and Kraken are cooking it up here in the side chat. All right, so that's pretty much what I had for tonight as far as I planned. Stuff was just to talk about first aid kits, offering more first aid, being ready to offer first aid in cold weather. So does anybody have any other suggestions of stuff for their first aid kits, things they might add to it for the winter other than what's in the summer? So just some ideas. We're spitballing here. We're helping each other. There's a lot of, you look, I've looked up a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff I'm not too sure about, but, I'm not too sure about the source of it either off the internet. Who knew? The internet might have some falsehoods on it.
Oh, come on. You got to be kidding. I've seen it on the internet. It's got to be true.
So one of the things, though, if anybody, waiting for anybody to put up any ideas here, one of the things that was also on my mind here, let me switch over here and bring, because I put it on my list over here. Okay. One of the things also that have been coming up in several other chats that I've been, and live streams and stuff I've been going to, fuel. Everyone's talking about, the fuel prices are going outrageous. We need to get, start storing fuel. Fine, people, store fuel. Do not store it in your garage. Actually, I heard someone guy saying, it's wintertime, so it's safe to store the fuel in your garage. It's not going to vaporize and expand out. It's like you bring that cold 5-gallon jug of gasoline out of the back of your truck and you bring it into your warmer garage. What's it going to do?
It's going to vent.
Yes.
And what is a fuel air bomb? Gasoline fumes, lots of oxygen, and a teeny little spark.
Okay. Tasha came up with a great suggestion here.
Well, actually, it wasn't her. Somebody said it before she did, but.
Okay. And then several of them, Suburban and Prep for It, have said thermal blanket. Oh, knit hats.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of people that knit hats and give them away in the wintertime. And a knit hat that you can give to person, keep on, keep on their head, but you got to be careful.
Got to be careful.
Froze, head injuries. You don't want to be putting a knit hat on if they have a head injury. So you need to ask them about it if their head's hurt. If they feel anything, and check them out. Get training. Once again, CERT training offers great medical triage training for going a person from head to toe to make sure that to do it. You're trained, you're protected so long as you follow your training on that to check them out for injuries.
One other thing I would suggest for those who drive, there's 2 different types of salt. One is this type of salt bags, the 50-pound bag you carry that you put on your sidewalks. Okay. You carry some of that. That's good for traction. I would also carry regular little thing of table salt. Why? Because it starts melting ice faster than the rock salt you buy. So if you have to stand next to a car and it's slippery and poo outside, and you're sliding trying to stay somewhere next to the car to help somebody, putting some table salt down will start melting that ice faster and give you more traction faster than throwing rock salt down.
Yeah. And Emma was saying, coming up on a car that slid off the road, the occupants are fine, but they're just stuck on, not prefer being stuck on the side of the road. Yeah. Sometimes a little salt can get you back on the road. Get it melted enough. Yeah, and having a couple of those knit caps to give away would be, would be nice to have. And there are certain organizations that give those things away. All right.
My cup is empty.
Okay, Pennsylvania Prepper pointed out a good point here. If a person has frostbite, warm liquids are good. Caffeine isn't, and neither is alcohol. I know alcohol is not, because it gives a false sense of
warmth
when it actually
wipes it
dehydrate you
and
actually
issues.
cools off your core temperature. You don't want the core temperature to cool off.
Excuse me.
Okay, got a good question here. Alcohol stove thingies. I'm not poking fun at you. I love it when people use this thimmy-jigs, thingies, and doobobs and doohickeys. The alcohol stoves,
You put it down below.
What was that?
Go 2 posts down.
Post down. Use. Oh, okay. Using that type. All right. Yeah. So basically, you're making a giant wick. I've seen those, and they're, for heat, for not cooking on, just for providing heat. It's a great source for doing it. The other thing you can do with that, the only thing about alcohol is, if the can doesn't seal tight, it can, over time, all of a sudden you go to pop it open and all the alcohol is evaporated out. There are several different types of those, but one of the things that tends to hold its alcohol better is like I'm losing it here, the name of the little sterno cans. Hold their heat they'll hold their alcohol longer than most of the other ones, and that way you can crack one of those open for heat for people to use and for yourself to use. Do not do alcohol or sterno or any other open flame inside a car, because it burns up the oxygen and burning up the oxygen. All of a sudden, your oxygen starved inside the car. Also produces carbon dioxide, a little carbon monoxide, depending on what you're burning as well. If you have, hey, Aiden Air, how's it going? If you have one of those in your trunk, like in a winter emergency kit in your trunk, where if you're stuck or you slid off the road, sometimes it's safer to get away from your car a little bit, and I froze again. A good cheap pop-up tent from Wally World or someplace else. You can set it off the side, pop it up, and even if it's just a pop-up shelter thing to put over you, you can get off on the side there, set the can outside the tent, or if it's just one of those shelters with the breeze blowing by, something that will radiate heat to help keep you warm out in that. But you want to be careful with fire inside of tents and stuff. Now, one of the things that Uncle Al always talks about, my dad had one, is the Zippo hand warmers. They last longer than the ones we showed earlier, the chemical ones.
Little pocket warmers.
Yeah, you heat one of those up, you can stick it down in your pockets and stuff, and they'll keep you warm.
The nice thing about the ones you showed earlier is you could stick them in your shoes too.
Yes, and that was these things here. And actually, you actually like put those in the top of your socks and put one in the front pockets, one in the back pockets. You can put several around on you, and it'll help warm you up. Carry a bright orange T-shirt, like to mark your car. Yep. Hey, Albany Mountain Homestead. So there's besides updating your first aid kit or winterizing your first aid kit, winterize your get home bag, because you should be changing your get home bag for seasons anyways, because you're not going to have the same stuff in there you would in July that you want to have in there in December. And Brenda's here, Duncan 1900 Homestead. So there's a lot of things that coming to winter you really need to think about in your bags, your kits and everything, and your vehicle kit. Now in the summertime, most people don't worry about having snow chains in their car if they're in the northern states. Of course, down in Texas and Southern California where Steve's at, they don't worry about snow chains anyways.
They do if they have to go over the mountain.
Yeah, they do. They have to leave, but I don't think Steve's left sunny Southern California in how many years?
Yeah, I don't think he ever left. I think he's still stuck in there.
He's
been institutionalized. Just admit it. I mean, what can I say? And he's been institutionalized.
And that's so funny for me because he used to be a corrections officer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We still love you, Steve.
Yeah. Hey, Viper. It doesn't come up on your computer, but it comes up on the chat comes up on your phone. Holy mackerel.
There could be some solar radiance going on right now causing intermittent internet issues.
Yeah. I'm just checking that. Yeah, it's working fine on mine over here. Let me yeah. Okay, yeah, chat's working fine on my but not only on StreamYard but on my YouTube. So yeah. All right. How do I find all this information? I've been learning it since I was 14 in Boy Scout. Actually, I started when I was 11, but I also just, when it got really, really serious about it when I was 14 after the Silmar quake in Southern California, which they've renamed, I noticed in the last couple of years, to the San Fernando earthquake.
Emma, when you refer to that reflective mylar, what are you using it for? Because that will dictate whether what you're thinking is strong enough or not.
Yeah. Because some of that reflective mylar people use for grow rooms is nothing more than your emergency blankets.
Yep. If you're looking for good quality, I would go with Titan Survival. I probably should pull that up.
Yeah. Suburban Hillbilly has a good reminder too. Have a get home bag for your pets as well and winterize them. And I know this is going to sound a little weird to some of you out there, but if you have a dog or something and dogs run and play in the snow, but hey, their feet still get really cold. And if you're walking a long time through slushy water and stuff, you may need something to help keep their feet dry. And have a blanket or something where you can take them up, dry them off, and get them warm again before you continue on your way. All right, here's what Dave has to share.
And I'll drop a link for y'all.
So
now I do have an affiliate link through Titan Survival, but it's been so long since it's been used, I probably won't get nothing out of it. But if you use my affiliate link to go to their website, you will get a little bit off of the total price.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it is now. It's been so long, but
Yeah. 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 So if you take your pets with you, most people take, the pets they take with them are dogs. I have seen a couple of cats being taken with people, and I have seen birds.
For anything survival related, I would check out Titan Survival. I've dealt with this company now for 5 or 6 years now. I've never had an issue out of anything I've gotten from them. I do have some of these blankets. I do have their thicker ones too, the ones that are orange. I also have a ton of their survival cord. I've got their plasma lighter. I've got quite a few things from these guys, and I've never had a problem with them almost. So you can feel safe in ordering from these guys.
Yeah. Eddie James, kitten mittens. When you type that in, I haven't heard, I haven't heard about those in years, but yeah.
As far as what Tibor is saying, something you can add to the whole floor thing is called Reflectix, and I can look that up if needed, or Gil can. Reflectix is an insulation barrier. It's reflective on both sides. It's insulated, and it works great for sleeping mats. I actually have one for myself and my son. I have one set up for each of us. Reflectix is great, and it's pretty cheap. You can buy it at Home Depot, Lowe's, most of your home improvement stores, or you can buy it off Amazon.
Got two keyboards here, and one on one computer, one on the other. So, is that with an X or Reflectix? Yeah, Reflectix insulation. There we go. Yeah, Lowe's has it. Switch over here. And to stream, and it's like a double bubble type white insulation. Reflectix, 16-inch wide, 25-foot long roll. So yeah, there's
it's pretty cheap.
Yeah, just pop over to images here, and yeah, people put it on their garage doors even and stuff to protect stuff. There we go. There's a good picture of it.
Yep.
That kind of looks like your hand almost.
I didn't get paid for that, so yeah. I tried. It didn't work.
Yes. Using it, if the power is out and you don't have a heater or a heat source, a tent inside your house helps to keep, when you actually go to sleep, you sleep in the tent and the tent keeps heat in. Now, what's neat about setting up a tent indoors, if you got extra blankets and stuff, you can throw those over the top of the tent and it'll trap more heat in there. You don't have to wrap them all around yourself, bundle up where you can't move. You can.
Come on. You don't want to feel as snug as a bug in a rug?
Yeah. And speaking about heat if your main power has gone out, let me pull this other one up here real quick here. Mr. Heater Buddy. Yeah, there we go. The Mr. Heater Buddies have the
Mr. Buddy heaters.
Mr. Buddy heaters. There's a big buddy, and then there's just the regular buddy. And they can run off of the little green bottles, or you can get the adapter to hook it up to a 5 gallon, 20-pound tank. They do have the CO sensor, oxygen sensor on it, so they shut off when the levels get bad. Of course, if you have some houses, they're leaky. They're leaky as far as air blowing in, so you always have a supply of fresh air.
I get so much fresh air in the house, I could lock everything down and still get plenty of it.
Yeah. Those are insulated for indoor tent. Just catching up on the chat here.
Yes, if you're going to use a bulk tank, the 20-pound or the 50-pounders, make sure they do make a filter that you can put in there.
Yeah, and I will pull that up here real quick because I got that saved on my wish list. Heater, boom, there it is. On Amazon, you can get the whole heater, the adapter, hose, and the filter for $37, or you can just get the Mr. Heater Universal Fuel Filter for $30. So, yeah. So, yeah, they do have them, and they still in stock. 2 kerosene heaters.
Everything's going up.
Kerosene's going. Yeah. Oh, Dave, I need to apologize to you.
Oh crap! What do I do now?
No, not what you did. You were pointing out that the price of Connex or cargo containers was up to $6,000. Well, 2 weeks ago it wasn't here. Last night I looked it up and it hit $6,001. So that, that's the whole delivered price and everything, but still, yeah, it's insane.
But the thing is, it's a progression. It starts in different areas of the country. It's the same with the whole supply chain. There are certain areas of this country right now that the stores are still fully stocked, but that's because they're near major hubs in major cities and near major ports.
Yeah.
The further you get away from that, the less and less stuff you're finding.
Yeah. Okay. And Emma says 2 must-haves on her stuff we have to get: generator and water filters. We were at Costco today, and the Firman tri-fuel generator went up $200.
It's that time of year. If you ain't got it now, you might not get it.
Yeah.
Hello, Mennonite.
Hey, Mennonite Farmhouse.
No, that's why I hate sounding like a broken record, but for those who are just getting started in this, you're almost behind the 8 ball already.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things you're not going to be able to get now.
Yeah.
Because the prices are going to be too exorbitant, or there's just not going to be any stock.
Yeah. Yeah. They at Costco, they did have the Firman, and they had a couple of the inverter generators.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even look at the price of those, but Kayla makes a good point. Some stores have a lot of some items where other stores are out of those items in the same area, and what one's out of, the other one has, and vice versa. I mean, the stock is not evenly distributed. Mm-mm. Because it's as they, if a trucker is sick or something's down, the one store gets one batch of product and the other trucker is going over this other store, so they get that product. And so, you may have to do a bit of shopping around to find things. Oh, yeah. Facebook Marketplace, for those of you who like it. There's also, crud. It's the app my wife uses for local shopping and stuff. Find out stuff that people are giving away and stuff. And also lists sometimes when there are estate sales. Mm-hmm. I hate to sound morbid, folks, but an estate sale,
sometimes your best place to find, especially the old style tools, the old style, cooking utensils. I'll have a video out in the next day or two showing an older one.
Emma, usually we just call it fake book. But you got an applause from Dave. There's estate sales.
So much drama on Facebook.
You can actually make a killing on. Brum-bum. Yes, I went there. I said it. Somebody had to. Oh, yeah. Anyone. If you can find a real Aladdin lamp, the big, those things are great. Oh, Craigslist too. Yeah, Craigslist as well. Find stuff on Craigslist. But there's an app that does local stuff that's
there's so many different apps now out there that you can list things on. It's hard to keep up with them all.
Yeah.
Certain areas of the country still have indoor flea markets. Like near where I'm at, there's actually 2 indoor flea markets within a 10-minute or 15-minute drive from me. And you can still find some stuff there, although it's getting harder and harder. But right now, it's, to be perfectly honest, if you haven't got it, the chances of getting it are getting slimmer and slimmer by the day.
Yeah. That's it. Yes, Tina, thank you. Next door. Yeah. All right, Tasha, you have a good night. There are some other things to consider too. And what's interesting is, all right, when we were out, my daughter, my wife, and I buzzing around Idaho Falls shopping. We went to Costco, we went to Walmart, and we went to a different store that is just, they got bought. It used to be Smart Food Service, which was the parent company of Smart and Final.
Mhm.
Well, they got bought out by U.S. Foods. U.S. Foods is a big commercial, restaurant supply. And Smart and Final and Smart Food Service, especially Smart Food, had a lot of that stuff too. We were in there, and I tell you what, folks, if you need to get some stuff and your grocery store doesn't have it, and there's the U.S. Foods chef store, whatever it's called, I'll look it up here for you in a second here. It's something that a place where you can still get supplies.
Tibor, if I had the money, I'd buy your generator just so I had one. For those of us on the East Coast, what he's referring to is something what we have similar is called Gordon Food Service.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the exact same thing. It's a restaurant supply store.
Yeah.
And you can go in and buy stuff there. So for the West Coast, you got Chef Store. For the East Coast, you have Gordon Food Service.
Yeah. So it's Chef Store. So that's it. Yeah, and they're expanding, and U.S. Foods' delivery is
Yes, Albany.
Around quite a bit. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. So the food service ad. So check around whatever restaurant supply service there is that's open to the public. Anybody can walk into the store and order stuff, or to buy stuff,
Right.
and you can order online as well. All right, so let's go back here. My cousin and her husband, they heated their house the entire time with a kerosene heater. Point to take into consideration is he was a fanatic at keeping that wick trimmed right, and when it was starting to smoke, shut it down, trimmed it, did all the adjustments to it and everything else. And every time I was over there, I could never smell the kerosene because he had it adjusted just right. Yeah, they had an older house, had a little bit of a leaky on it. He had it sitting right in front of the fireplace, so they had fresh air draft there. So yeah, you do need some ventilation, but depending on how you set it up, you can get it where you get plenty of ventilation for it. But as in any case, in wintertime, folks, especially, get a carbon monoxide detector. If I could, I'd run in the other room, grab the one out of the kitchen. I have one of the ones that has the batteries in it, rechargeable batteries, and plugs into an outlet. It runs off the outlet until the power goes out. Then it keeps on running on the batteries. It tells you when there's carbon monoxide levels are getting too high. Yeah. Sorry, Tibor, didn't mean to steal your thunder. Yeah, Cisco is another company too, but I don't know if they sell directly to the public for food supplies and stuff. But when we were there at the chef store, they had 50-pound bags of powdered sugar, 25-pound bags, 10-pound bags, 5-pound bags, and then they had sugars, they had flour. You would not believe the selection of flours they had. Whole wheat, white, whole grain. It just froze.
Just so good, it froze him right up.
It was so good, it just froze my mind. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. Now, there are some, Kaylin says Cisco only sells to restaurants.
Around here, it's the same. If you want to get through a restaurant supply, you have to go through Gordon Food Service.
Yeah.
Some areas, now the one that's over in Middletown where I used to live, their prices in that store are actually pretty decent considering you're buying in bulk. If you can afford to do it that way and you have a place to store it, then that's what I would recommend.
Yeah. Some of these places like Cisco and some of the other ones that don't sell to the public. However, if you have a wholesaler license, like someone recommended, sometimes they'll let you buy, but it's got to be a significant, purchase. I
Best
know
thing to do.
the Boy Scouts have contracts with these guys for camp, and they order several pallet loads at a time. But that's the thing is you'd have to get a large people together and say, we want to order so much, and then they'll go, okay. And they'll do a drop delivery.
Okay. My recommendation for those who are looking to buy in bulk, if you have friends that work at restaurants, talk to the restaurant manager or the person in charge of ordering and see if you can't work with them. Say, look, I would like to order this, and this. Can I pay you, usually in advance, to order this for me through your restaurant? I used to have when I worked at Waffle House, my friend was the manager. And if I wanted stuff, I could order the hash browns, the bacon, whatever. I had to pay the store price, not retail, not wholesale. I paid store price. He just ordered the extra one, and I had to reimburse the store for it. So if you can make friends with somebody that's in charge of that, you may have so shall we say, into getting some bulk supplies.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are changing weekly as far as what stores have in them, and a big part of the problem has to do with supply chain in the delivery. Yeah,
supply chain right now is broken.
Yeah,
told you guys that last year. It got fixed. Told you guys at the beginning of this year it was going to get broken again. Everybody kept telling me and Gil we didn't know what we was talking about, that nothing was going to happen, everything was going to be just fine. Here we are at the end of the year, later than what I expected, but it's still happening. I expected this to hit us, probably end of August, early September, and it's, end of October, early November, where it's really starting to rear its ugly head nationwide.
Yeah.
So it's a little off on.
And there's some of the other big channels that are now hopping on what we were talking about before on it. There is the biggest problem from everything I've been able to gather is that a lot of truckers are retiring because they don't want to, put up with all the, added regulations and regulatory crap they got to go through just to drive to make money, and then get yelled at by their managers that they're not driving fast enough when they're driving the fast as they can, even a little bit faster. And they can only drive so many hours a day now. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of them are, well, I'm done with this. I'm going to get a different profession. And the ones coming in are, holy crap, what did I get into?
Most of them ones coming fresh out of truck driving school can't drive a doggone pickup, let alone a semi truck.
Yeah.
You can't back them in to save their lives.
And those that are sticking it out, some of them are getting sick, having other problems. And so there's not enough trucks on the road to make all the deliveries. That's one of the big problems.
Well, Tibor, it's a combination of a lot of different things. Okay. The brokers aren't getting enough money for the loads that they normally broker out. So they're not taking, let's put it in context that's easier to understand. Company A in Dayton, Ohio sells plastic bottles to Coke, Pepsi, all these other companies. They sell it to P&G for Dawn dish soap and stuff like that. They sell it, a trailer load of stuff for a broker to haul it, it's $1.80 a mile. That was a couple years ago. Now those prices are down to $1 a mile. Well, brokers need at least $1.80 in order for them to broker the load out for $1.25 for a company to even think about taking it. Well, if the broker's only getting $1 a mile for it now, they've still got to make money at it. So now the trucking company is only getting offered 80 cents a mile when it takes $1.25 for that truck to make it down the road and break even. So as you can see, when you look at it that way, you can see why companies aren't moving loads. Brokers aren't shipping loads. Therefore, companies aren't sending loads. And there's less drivers to move the loads that are moving. So it's a combination of a lot of different factors all at once that the news doesn't report on because, well, they don't want to scare people for one.
Yeah. And part of the problem too, has to do with the ports stuff, the materials coming in, not getting to some of the manufacturers so they can make stuff. And what they do get, they're having to pay more for to outbid their competitors to get that product. Therefore, it's costing them more. So they're trying to cut their shipping costs down, which is adding to what Dave just said. Cut on that end too. 2 semi trucks who are busier than ever. We don't take less.
Right. There are some people, just like right there. It takes 225 to move a truck. And in this day and age, that's probably just barely breaking even, to be honest. You haul enough loads, 235 a mile, you will get ahead. But if you don't haul enough loads, that's just breaking even.
Yeah.
I did it for 30 years. I've been in the industry, and I'm not all knowing, but I've been around broke owner operators my entire career. I didn't work for any large large corporations or like JB Hunt or none of them. They couldn't pay me enough.
All right. Good night, Courtney. We're about done here too, so we're going to wrap it up here. All right. Let me pull up the schedule here coming up here. Some things are changing on my schedule. I've been getting requests from new subscribers and some old subscribers.
Agreed, Tina. Agreed.
All right. Yeah, exactly. Especially the ports of California. You can't even drive a truck in there now unless it meets certain, you need to the state from out of state unless it meets certain things. All right. So coming up this week, on Thursday evening, 7:30 my time is 9:30 Eastern. Thursday talk. I'm doing a change up on the structure of Thursday talk. I'm going to focus it on a specific open. It's still going to be an open talk, but it's going to be on a specific topic. And so I got about 36 topics lined out for Thursdays. So it's going to be open talk for you guys on something like, okay, we just had a grid down. What are we actually doing here on day 3 of the grid? And we realize it's going to be a long time down. Stuff like that. So that's what's coming up on Thursday at 9:30 Eastern time. Friday is on Patent Family Compound, my other channel. So Friday night on the Homestead is going to be heating for your livestock, including chickens, rabbits, goats, pigs, horses, cows. And we're going to talk about that because, some areas are already getting some really cold dips already. Next Tuesday here, we're going to be talking about, and this is going to be a full-filled one next Tuesday on Tactical Tuesday. We're going to talk about writing your plans, how to make plans to set up for your emergency preparedness. So we're going to be going into that a bit because I had several requests on that today. So I moved that one up to this next Tuesday.
Well, Suburban, that means the grocery store didn't get their cereal. You have to read her post above it too.
I'm looking at last post because I'm excited. All happened was loaded the trailer with the wrong. Tina, I have a spreadsheet here and I have a bunch filled out for 2 months in advance of topics. But if a couple of people start requesting a topic that's way out, I'll move it up the chain. And as things change in the news and something becomes more important, I may shuffle my topics around. But I'll just give you a quick rundown here for Tactical Tuesdays, Tuesday nights. Writing plans, and then the following week is going to be freezing temperatures. Talk about protecting your preps from freezing temperatures. The following Tuesday after that, December 7th, it's going to be medications. December 14th is making your own survival food supply. The 21st is going to be prepping priorities. Talk about what your priorities are as far as food, water, pew-pews, clothing, whatever. December 28th, talk about holiday travel tips. And then January 4th is what's your current DEF CON status? And January 11th is fuel. Make it go, make it burn. And so that's on Tactical Tuesday. The ones for Thursday Talk, I'm still getting them ordered out, but basically it's going to be, Bruce at Backwoods Law and Josh at Lord of the Gourd, Gardener Josh, gave me the idea to run with this stuff is the specific topics of, all right, this has happened. What are you going to do? Or this event has happened. What are you going to do? For Friday night on the Homestead, this Friday is heating your livestock. The Friday after that, the 26th is bread machines. December 3rd is keep it simple. The simple things can make a difference. December 10th is the funniest. Is going to be an open one unless I shuffle things around. Funniest things that have happened to you on a homestead, or the funniest things you've seen happen on a homestead. The 17th, mouse traps and other devices for keeping pests away.
Just make sure you put them up when mouses in the house.
Yeah. Christmas Eve, we're going to talk about. It's just going to be kind of a laid back one. It's Santa Claus is coming to town, and then December 31st is going to be New Year's Eve. We're going to talk, do New Year's Eve together here.
Tina, it is 10 Eastern.
Yeah. So Tuesdays and Fridays are 10 Eastern. And let's see. And then January 7th, I'm going to try to get Anthony from Palmetto prepared up here because he knows a lot about sourdough and wild yeast. And we're going to be talking. That's what we're going to be talking about in January. So that's an idea of what's coming up. And so we're going to be talking about that. And bread machines don't need a machine to make bread, people. No, you don't. But sometimes when you're really busy and you got a lot of kids or whatever, it's nice to be able to set it, go, walk away from it, deal with the kids, deal with other things, get Christmas wrapping done, whatever you need to do, and the bread bakes. So that's what that's what's coming up for the next month or so. And with that, we're going to wrap this up here. And just want to say to everybody, let's see. Yeah, and there's the times for the rest of the for Fridays and Tuesdays. All right, and generally I will try to put out earlier in the day, put out a tonight on Tactical Tuesday or tonight on Thursday Talk or whatever, so everyone gets a little earlier announcement on it. So with that, everyone, stay happy no matter what life throws at you. Stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish or stupid. And most of all, keep on adding to your preps, both in food and water and other supplies. All right? So take care, and we'll see you in the next video.